Justice. My name is Barbara Walsh, and I am co-chair, along with Rima Liscombe, of Hudson Valley Strong Indivisible. The two main goals of Hudson Valley Strong have been, first of all, to elect Democrats, and second of all, to work for social justice. This is a rally for abortion justice. Abortion justice is more than just about protecting Roe, the right to an abortion. The reality is that the legal right to an abortion alone has never been enough to ensure that people working to make ends meet can get the care they need when they need it. We need more than legality. We need a world where abortion is affordable and available in all of our communities when people need care from providers in ways that people trust. We need abortion justice, which is why we are rallying for it across the nation today. So when Hudson Valley Strong was planning this, Rima said to me, Barb, you gotta be passionate, you know, which I usually am, but you know, I'm gonna tell a very quick story about a personal experience with abortion. I grew up in Louisiana. I went to college there. And when I was in Louisiana, when I was in college, at about 19, my 16-year-old sister called me and said she was pregnant. We're two of 7 children, a very large religious family. My sister said, Barb, I'm pregnant and I want to have an abortion. Now this is over 50 years ago in New Orleans, Louisiana. And she said, I think I found somewhere to get one, but I need the money. I need $200. At that time, I mean, this was over 50 years ago. That was a lot of money. I was in college, she was 15 years old. But I had a boyfriend, would you believe, in New York, the man I eventually married, and so I called him, and I asked him to give me the money for my sister to have an abortion, and she did. And she says, Barb, you took me. I don't remember that. But this is why I'm telling you the story, because last week, when Rima said that to me, it occurred to me that my husband, my sister, and I, 50 years later, have never talked about that. Why? Well, there's probably some shame. There's probably some, we never talked about it. I mean, why didn't we just, the fact that we've avoided it. And now I've asked my sister's permission to tell you this story, and I've said to her name's Maggie, Mag, because we talk about everything. Why didn't we talk about that? And that is another reason why we need abortion justice. So, having said that, I'd like to introduce our MC for today, Steve Spicer. Irish refer to Steve Spicer as Principal Spicer because Steve is a former educator. He is a founding member of Black Lives Matter in the Hudson Valley. He's a strong member of Hudson Valley Strong Steering Committee, and he's also a member of the Kingston City School District Board of Education. So I'd like to present to you the fabulous Stephen Spicer.
Good morning, you back-talking bunch of troublemakers. So we begin every oh, wait. I'm not ready for this rally. I need a minute.
Woo!
Now I'm ready. So every rally has rules. I'll be letting you know the rules as we go along. The first rule is for all of the answers to these questions, you guys yell yeah, and you got to fist bump bros. You got to say yeah like that. Let me see it. Yeah! Okay, here we go. You mad at something? Yeah! You got anger? Yeah! You got concerns? Yeah! Sound like you got concerns? Yeah! It sounds like something done gone wrong. Yeah! Okay, that's all the answer now. I got to talk for a minute. Before the rally goes any further, I want to thank Tin Horn Uprising. Want to thank Planned Parenthood. Want to thank Ulster County Indivisible. Want to thank UACT. Want to thank Citizen Action. And want to thank Hudson Valley Strong. You may not know these people, but the powerhouse of Hudson Valley Strong, Rima Listrom. I'm losing my mind. What's your last name, Liz? Roth. Liz Roth? I'm losing my mind. And Barbara Walsh! Sorry, I'm losing my mind. Here we go. So, I know why I'm here, and I know why you're here. So I'm going to tell you why you're here. You're here because somewhere outside Houston right now is a man. This man is using his cell phone as a camera. He knows today is some woman's gynecological appointment. He's there to take pictures of her home. He's there to take pictures of her license plate. He's there to take pictures of her children because he needs $10,000. He's gathering evidence to use in court to show she's pursuing a legal medical procedure that has been made illegal in Texas. He needs that $10,000. So her privacy, her dignity, her freedom of choice is gone, gone, gone. Her right to self-determination is irrelevant. Why? I already told you, he needs $10,000. You're here because in the year 2028, when our children ask you what you were doing as they took down democracy in America, law by law, brick by brick, and right by right, you will say, I was standing in Academy Green Park in Kingston, New York, yelling my head up with Steve. They're going to say, what was you yelling? You're going to say, I was yelling, no way. Everybody yell, no way. No way. They say, go away. We say, no way. They say, go away. We say, no way. They say, go away. We say, no way. No way. No way. Get away. No way. Back away. No way. Stand away. No way. Go away. No way. Get away. No way. You guys doing good? And as our first supportive speaker for this morning's program, we're bringing up Michelle Hinchy, New York State Senator from the 4th Precinct. You know her. Give it up for Michelle. You know her. Give it up.
How's it going, everyone? What a gorgeous day we have today. And you know why we have such a beautiful day? It's because the universe knows that healthcare is a human right. and abortion is health care. We are here to make that known throughout our community and to join with everyone across this country fighting for that yet every single day. What are we here for? When I say what are we here for, I want you all to say pro-Roe. What are we here for? Pro-Roe! What are we here for? Pro-Roe! Because that's what's under attack at all times. Listen, I get it. This is hard. Listening to Steve explain the situation that's happening in Texas right now and other states trying to follow suit, it's hard. This feels heavy. This feels like there is really no way forward. How many more times can we be fighting for something that we know is a human right? And it's okay to feel that. It's okay to feel like this is daunting and that you don't know where to turn and that things are really challenging. But it's events like this, and it's all of you here that dig deep, even in that challenging moments, in those moments that feel like everything is useless. You dig deep, you make these incredible signs, you show up, you make your voices heard, and you make sure that not only does everybody know that here in New York and here in Ulster County, we don't stand for that, but that we will never stand for that, and we will support all of our brothers and sisters and people who are struggling across this country. They know they can turn to New York. They know they can look to us for leadership and for help and support when they feel the way we have felt over the last couple of months. When they are feeling down and out, when they're feeling like there's nowhere to turn, they can look to the support, the friendship, and the love that we are cultivating here in this space to know that they can move forward. They can show up to their rally. They can push forward. They can push their elected officials and make sure that they overturn that law and that nowhere else across this country has to deal with anti-abortion rhetoric. We have a lot of work to do still, and I'll tell you, Barbara, thank you for sharing your family's story, because destigmatizing is the major thing that we have to do in every community, even here in New York, where we feel like we're protected. Because let's remember, the person who we all collectively beat for this Senate seat by only 2 points was anti-abortion, unabashedly. And so we still have people in our communities who are fighting for the things that we are fighting against every day. So I thank you for showing up today, for spending this beautiful day together, making your voices heard, being together, and sending a message, a very clear message that this does not stand. And here in Ulster County, here in Kingston, and here in New York State, we are pro-abortion. Thank you very much.
You picked a fight and now you got one. Okay, you did it terrible. It goes like this. You picked a fight and now you got one. Let's see it.
You picked a fight and now you got one.
Think you're tough? Think you've won? You picked a fight and now you got one. It's her choice. It's her opinion.
Time to stop the war on women.
It's her choice. It's her opinion.
It's time to stop the war on women.
We're bringing up to the stage our great county executive. That happens to be Pat Ryan.
Good morning. I'm going to say good morning.
Good morning.
Steve already took his shirt off, so I'm not going to do that. I know we're here for a really serious topic, a life and death topic, but I do just want to say I have not seen a lot of you in a really long time, and it feels damn good to be here with you once again, rallying for justice against in what feels like increasingly a relentless, non-stop wave of attacks against these core fundamental rights that we all believe so deeply in. And Steve's last call, I think, hit it exactly right. Once again, they, and let's be clear, the Republicans, and this is not just in Texas, it's across the country. The Republicans have picked a fight, and they are going to lose that fight. And they're going to lose that fight the same way many of the people here, and I see a lot of familiar faces, we stood here We stood in front of, I'm not even going to say his name, Congressman's office in Midtown Kingston with Tin Horn Uprising, with all our indivisible groups and allies, under a similar threat of attack. When the Republican Party in post-2016 said, we're going to come after this essential right of health care in the United States of America, another wave of attacks. And we all stood in the cold, we stood in the heat, we marched, we rallied, we stopped that attack, and by the way, in the meantime, we flipped the House of Representatives. We elected Antonio Delgado, who I know is going to join us. We built momentum to elect Jen Metzger and Michelle Hinchy, and so many great, powerful allies. And so when they come at us, we rise to the occasion, and it makes us stronger, and it just reinvigorates us and re-energizes us. But we have to be honest that this is an even more heinous and egregious attack when you are pitting American people against each other in such a disgusting way, where you're paying people to report on each other, to inform on, I mean, this is truly Orwellian stuff that just passed a state legislature in the United States of America. And so I want to build on what other people have said, and I want to ask you all to think about this issue and talk about this issue in a way that I think is important. I see so many folks walking around with shirts that say things like, I stand for the pledge. The Republican Party has co-opted this idea of patriotism and the flag, and they claim that many of us might not stand for those principles, that if you think something's wrong in our country and you're willing to say that, and you're willing to stand up, and you're willing to rally and call that out and say we've got to do better, that that's somehow not patriotic. I believe what we're doing here today, which by the way is how our country started, is the essence of what patriotism is, to say we need to continue to get better and better and better. We all said these words as kids, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is about justice for all. This is about abortion justice for all. This is about health care justice for all. That's what we need to remind everyone in this community. We've got 180,000 people in Ulster County alone. The few hundred people here today, we all need to go out and take this message and say this applies to every one of us. Because if they can come after rights like a woman's right to choose, they'll come a person's right to choose. Thank you. They will continue down that slope and continue to come after more and more of our rights. So thank you all for being here once again, for rallying, for inspiring all of us at such a difficult time. I stand with you. And now let's take this message across the county, across the state, and across the country. Thank you so much.
Give it up for Pat Ryan. You know you love him. You know you love this guy. Coming to the stage right now is Lara Hope, musician from Kingston and the recipient of the 2021 City of Kingston Distinguished Artist Award. Give it up.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and thank you for allowing me to be here. This is a song I just wrote a couple of weeks ago in response to all of this craziness going on, and this song is called Have a Heart. Who are you to tell me what to do? Who the hell do you think you are? How dare you push your ancient views? We've worked hard to come this far. One step forward, two steps back, but the game is just begun. You have to their pen, they can rule us. But a suit and tie, that doesn't make you right. You're just an evil guy, you can't fool us. You can hide behind religion and lies. You can keep your pride and your guns. But you have to have a heart to pass along involved in one. I'm wrestling with your power. I'm struggling with your force. I'm scrambling by the hour, demanding some recourse. I'm flying off the handle. How is this reality? It's 2021. We have a right. We have a right to be free with our bodies up, with our heartbeats, with our bodies, yeah, with our heartbeats. Thank you so much.
We're bringing up to the stage right now Rachel Bruce, the Vice Chair of the New York State Young Democrat Women's Caucus. Give it up!
Good morning, everybody. My name is Rachel Bruce. I am so honored to be here with so many amazing people. Everyone in the crowd, of course, a lot of the dignitaries we have here. Everyone here, whether you have a blue check mark next to your name, whether you have 1 million Twitter followers, whether you're just a person with your family and your friends, you're all doing something to make a difference, and that's what matters. So please give it up for yourselves. While many of us were asleep, just last month, the Supreme Court ruled to uphold a restrictive and unconstitutional, in my opinion, and many constitutional scholars would agree, restriction on abortion in the state of Texas. Now, we are lucky, we are fortunate enough to live in a state where we have a legislature and a governor that supports a person's right to choose. That understands that this is a decision to be made with someone in their doctors. But unfortunately, when one of us is in danger, when any one of us, of the millions of people who live in this country, we are all in danger. This is a fundamental right, and we should all have it. Now, 1 in 4 people have received an abortion. That means that more than likely everybody here knows someone, loves someone who has made the incredibly difficult choice to terminate a pregnancy. And people do this for a myriad of reasons, and we all know what abortion is, but here's what it also is. It's Susan, who is very far along in her pregnancy, but she finds out that by carrying the baby, the fetus, to term, that she will risk her life. And Susan has 3 other children that she has to bring up, and she has to be there for those children. Abortion is a way that she can make sure that she's there for them. Abortion is also for a young woman who is in college or a teenager and can't afford or is not mature enough yet to raise a child. That is also what this is for. So when one of us is in danger, we are all in danger. But what do? Well, first off, you're all here today, and that is a fantastic start. And I'm sure you've all been doing work on the side with your friends, your families, your communities to to make sure that this continues. But what do we also do? We fight, we march, we donate, not just to Planned Parenthood, but to the people on the ground, the people in the state of Texas and elsewhere who are giving rides to get people to their appointments, to have these procedures. All right. And especially the small clinics in rural areas and states where this might be more of a controversial issue, where people are really in danger of losing this right, who might be struggling. We support those clinics too. It's not just about the big flashy organizations, but the people doing the work on the ground, and that's who we're here for today. And most importantly, which is something you can all do if you're over the age of 18, this November, you can vote. So please, get out there. This is a local year. It's hard to get people out. There's a lot of town and county elections, but they matter. They count. And everyone here has a voice. Especially in these elections, 1 vote, 10 votes can make a huge difference. Like Senator Hinchy was saying earlier, 2%. That's probably a couple thousand, maybe, 5,000 votes or so? 3,000. That's a huge difference. So anyway, I thank you all for your time. I thank Hudson Valley Indivisible and everybody who put this march together, this rally together, to come together and stand up. This is not just my generation's fight. New York State Young Democrats represents people from 16 to 36 in this state, but it is everyone's, okay? Because when I have children, I don't want them to have to worry about losing this right as well. So thank you all so much for being here, and let's do this. Thank you.
sorry, I gotta interrupt this rally with a bit of a protest. So here we go. Your arguments are pretty shoddy. Get your laws off my body. Your arguments are pretty shoddy.
Get your laws off my body.
Your arguments are pretty shoddy.
Get your laws off my body.
Your arguments are pretty shoddy.
Get your laws off my body.
We've come too far to turn back now.
Welcome to America.
We've come much too far to turn back now.
Welcome to America.
Coming up to the stage right now is Jen Metzger, former New York State Senator from the 41st District. Give it up for Jen Metzger.
Hello, everybody. Get your laws off my damn body. So I want to thank Hudson Valley Strong, Indivisible, and all the organizations that are here today that brought us together today. Okay, it is amazing to see so many people in the Hudson Valley here today who are saying what the hell are we saying? No. Any assault or attack on our reproductive rights anywhere in this country is an attack on our rights everywhere in this country. Everywhere. And we are here in solidarity with those whose right to bodily autonomy are being oppressed, for those who have lost access to abortion, to legal abortion, in those states where it's been so heavily restricted that those rights have basically been denied altogether. In this past year alone, more restrictions have been enacted across the country, blocking women from getting an abortion than in any year since the decision on Roe v. Wade back in 1973. All right, this is atrocious. 90 laws across the country. Here in New York, we understand that abortion is essential health care. We understand that it is critical to health equity. We understand that it is absolutely vital to racial, gender, and economic justice. When I served in the state Senate in that historic year, when we turned the Senate blue, and in our very first week, we passed a major package of historic legislation that protected abortion rights here in New York, that protected affordable access to reproductive care. I was so honored to sponsor the BOSS bill, which protected employees' rights, protected them from discrimination by their employers for their private reproductive health decisions. We passed the Comprehensive Contraception Coverage Act, which guaranteed affordable access to contraceptive drugs, products, and devices. And at the center of that legislative initiative, we passed the Reproductive Health Act, codifying Roe v. Wade in New York State. That is the law of the land in New York State, and it will not be taken away. But these laws are just dreams in other states. And these are dreams that we have to fight to make a reality. We have been fighting this battle for decades. I mean, my entire life I feel like we've been fighting this battle. All right, but we have to keep fighting it. Because as I said at the beginning, an assault on our reproductive rights anywhere is an assault on our reproductive rights everywhere. So I just want to hear it from you. An assault on our reproductive rights anywhere is an assault on our reproductive rights everywhere. Thank you.
Give it up for Jen Metzger. You know her. So there is a group of people in this country who don't understand how democracy works. They don't understand how democracy works. You come out to the public square and you tell everybody ideas, and then they either vote for those ideas or they don't, because they don't like your ideas. Nobody likes this idea. Nobody likes this idea. So the group of Americans who are trying to do it backwards are called Republicans. So I wrote a little chant. Take my rights and get my vote. That's not how this country works. Take my rights and my vote.
That's not how this country works.
Take my rights and get my vote.
That's not how this country works.
Take my rights and get my vote.
That's not how this country works.
Coming up to the stage right now is Karen Smythe, Mayor of Red Hook. Give it up.
That looks good. And this looks good. It's so great to see you all here. I have to tell you, you are all giving me inspiration. And it's an honor and a joy to be here and have an opportunity to speak to you. I want to leave you with two messages. One, don't ever give up the fight. This fight is not new. I actually got involved in politics because in 2014, the Supreme Court versus Hobby Lobby said it was okay for the owner of a private business to determine what reproductive health care his employees had. That's not okay. And my mother has been fighting with Planned Parenthood forever. My grandmother fought for Planned Parenthood when she was alive. This fight has been going on for a long time. So my message is we have to keep fighting. Don't get discouraged. Days like today give me inspiration because you're all out here. It's worth the fight. The second message is we need to get the right people in the room where it happens, in the room where the decisions are made. We need County Executive Pat Ryan. We need State Senator Michelle Hinchy. We need Controller March Gallagher. We need Congressman Antonio Delgado. Just because someone is a woman does not mean that they support women. Make sure you look at their actions, not just what they say, not just what they show up for, but what they do with their position, because they want you to think that they're for you, but then they go into the back room and vote very differently. So it's really important. Find out who you're voting for and make sure that you vote. Yes. So to help encourage you, as you all are encouraging me, I'm going to leave you with a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt. Surely, in the light of history, it is more intelligent to hope rather than to fear, to try rather than not to try. For one thing we know beyond all doubt, nothing has ever been achieved by the person who says it can't be done. Keep fighting.
Danny from the Kingston radio station. Ready? Coming to the stage right now is Joy Calloway, the CEO of Planned Parenthood Greater New York. We got the big wigs today. Put your hands together.
Good afternoon, y'all. I am shocked. I am thrilled to see this crowd. I didn't realize y'all were rowdy like this up here. I love it. The amazing cheerleader. I need him in my life every day. Isn't he an amazing cheerleader? Right? As he said, I am Joy D. Calloway. I'm the President and Chief Executive Officer of Planned Parenthood of Greater New York. And I am so thrilled to be with you all today. But I gotta be real. I'm feeling a little bit like, if you're old enough, I'm feeling a little bit like the Bee Gees up here. Emotion has taken me over, caught up in sorrow, lost in the storm. You know why? My emotions have me jacked up because I'm so excited to see y'all. Where I'm from, Detroit, we say geeked. I'm geeked to see y'all, but I'm also furious. I'm mad as hell. I'm pissed off. And why? I'm furious at the politicians who think they have the right to deny people fundamental health care, and abortion care is fundamental health care. And they're trying to do it smack in the middle of a worldwide pandemic, a health crisis that has now taken over 700,000 American lives. My father, Reverend James Calloway, one of them. I'm furious at the Supreme Court. We're about to change their name. I'm furious at the Supreme Court, who in the dead of night while we were sleeping, turned its back on the people in Texas and allowed the state to enact this heinous 6-week abortion ban. I'm furious. Am I by myself? Y'all cool. Nobody mad with me, right? I am furious because we have been fighting the same fight. I was 5 when Roe v. Wade became the law of the land. I'm 53 years old and we still doing the same thing. I am furious about that, and I know you are furious too. It has been a very, very long month since SB 8 stripped people of their access to abortion in Texas. Since then, Planned Parenthood's call centers in Texas have turned into life or death crisis hotlines. And here's what we're hearing. One woman who was less than 6 weeks pregnant is frantic because she knows she won't be able to get an abortion locally. She's sick with COVID, and because of her 14-day quarantine is going to do what? Put her over the 6 weeks. I'm furious because a single mother who is already struggling to make ends meet is scrambling to get an out-of-state abortion. She doesn't have a pocket of cash and she can just jump on a plane and go somewhere else. It's difficult for her to travel, even if she has the money, because she has other young children at home who need a caregiver. These are the real-life situations that we are dealing with and the real-life implications of such an extreme ban. Restrictions like this are designed, specifically designed, heinously designed, diabolically designed to trap people in strenuous situations. This isn't new. This ain't new. Black folks, Latinx folks, indigenous communities continually face this struggle and have done so for many years. The LGBTQIA folks and their family and families with low income are caught up and are always on the receiving end of oppressive policies, and we have got to change that. SB 8 is a brazen attack on reproductive rights, reproductive freedom, and reproductive justice. It's only the beginning. That's the problem, y'all. If we don't stamp this out right now, it becomes a domino effect across this great land. On December 1st, again, the court that calls himself Supreme will hear yet another unnecessary abortion challenge, that being Mississippi's 15-week abortion ban. We know this is coming. And we know the makeup of this court is stacked against the rights of those people we want to protect. The outcome of this case could be devastating. And we got to get the seriousness of that. It could render the protections of Roe v. Wade meaningless for more than 25 million across this country. That's why today is so important. You got up out of your beds to be outside with your signs and your voices and your chanting and your shouting. We must turn our fury into action. It's not enough just to be mad. Let me say it colloquially. Ain't enough just to be pissed off. We have to turn this into action and tell the Supreme Court and politicians everywhere, bans off our bodies. Period. Last week, Planned Parenthood of Greater New York celebrated the reopening of our Kingston Health Center. Know that it's never easy to temporarily close the Sexual and Reproductive Health Center. It was not an easy choice, but we knew at that moment it was the only foreseeable way to preserve affordable health care throughout the state as we recovered from and dealt with the pandemic. The reopening happened just in the nick of time. I'm so thrilled. Resuming health care. Yes, y'all can clap for your health center. Clap for your health center. Resuming health care here in Kingston is not only a symbol of our collective recovery from the COVID pandemic, we also know that this health center serves as a vital resource for people in Texas, yes, in Texas, way over there, and across the country, who will have to turn to the great state of New York for dignified health care. I'm glad we are here. I hate that we have to serve in that way. to. But I'm glad that we can. I want to thank Hudson Valley Strong Indivisible for organizing today's Women's March. All of our partners in the fight for reproductive rights. I want to acknowledge our allies in elected positions of power. Thank you. We thank you, and we're going to put you right back in your seats. I'm so proud as I close to be among New Yorkers. I've been practicing New Yorkers, who understand that sexual and reproductive health care is essential health care. States like ours have long been the leaders in this fight for reproductive freedom, but we must work to ensure that every person, no matter their zip code, no matter their state, has access to the health care they need and the health care they deserve. Our promise to you and to patients everywhere is to defend sexual and reproductive health care no matter what. I'll say it again, no matter what. We ain't asking no questions. It's your right, it's your body, and we're here to protect and support you.
Today we march, tomorrow we vote. Today we march, tomorrow. Today we march, tomorrow.
And what we talk about in my house is reproductive health care for all. Not just the girls in my family, not just the women around us, but the way it impacts all of us, all of our lives, particularly sometimes the lives of young people. So I wanted to remind you to spread the word not only to the women in your lives, but also to the young men in your lives, to your sons, to your fathers, to your grandfathers, because they are, I mean, raise your hand here. I mean, everyone, look at it. We've got a great crowd of all sorts here, and we need everyone, and we need abortion justice for all. Thank you.
If you think you're winning this,
You don't know who you're messing with.
if you think you're winning this,
You don't know who you're messing with.
they don't know who they're messing with. No, that was just me saying that. You guys doing good, though. You guys doing good. Coming up right now is Laura Nordstrom, Democrat and Working Families Party candidate for Ward 7, Alderman on the Kingston City Council. Laura is endorsed by Citizen Action. Give it up for Laura!
I am so excited that so many people are here today. One of the things that inspired me to run for office way back when Donald Trump was elected was the Women's March. So I am really proud that so many people clearly were there then and are back out today to fight for abortion access. So thank you for showing up and showing out. It has been said today that New Yorkers are lucky. Jen pointed out we have codified Roe v. Wade into law, but we must always be vigilant in New York. We must keep electing representatives that are going to fight for that access and for that access to stay affordable, for Planned Parenthood to be able to keep their center here. I am not here just to talk about that. I am here to share my story. Because the only way we can break the stigma on abortion is if we get up here and we tell our truths. So bear with me. The first time I was pregnant, I didn't find out until I was 8 weeks along. I was 24, and I had no idea until one morning I was at the gym, my sports bra was doing me no favors, and I panicked because I started doing the math. I got off the treadmill, I went to Rite Aid, I got home and confirmed what had been gripping me with terror, absolute terror. I called my sister, and I cried. I told my partner, and his response was, "You're not going to keep it, are you?" Thank you. Now, I forgive him this lapse in judgment and an appropriate response. He was 3 years younger than me and clearly horrified and no more ready to be a parent at that time than I was. I was recovering from an eating disorder. I had left an abusive relationship. I had been homeless for a brief stint, and I was struggling with depression. And for me and my unique situation, that was not something I could have done at that time. It was the worst possible news. So I went to Planned Parenthood. I was told exactly how far I was, and that I had a week left to make a decision in order to have access to medical abortion. It's a 2-part pill, one at the office and one at home, or I would need a full procedure. I didn't have to think. I chose immediately. I will spare you the details, except that I was alone, cleaning up my own blood and vomit. I don't say that to shock you. I say that because I think we sanitize birth. It is just as traumatic and bloody. And we sanitize abortion. It's hard for people to get up here and even say the word. I had an abortion. Now, conversely, that night, my partner had his friends over. This gets better. The juxtaposition of a bunch of 20-year-old males sitting around drinking beer and quoting Anchorman while I deal with the aftermath, that's not an exaggeration, while I deal with the aftermath is exactly why we need people who bear children in the room where these decisions are getting made on policy, because they don't understand what we go through. My abortion was my choice. It was my decision for me, and it was the right one, because despite the trauma of that situation and going through it alone, it allowed me to plan the beautiful family I have. After going through 2 full-term pregnancies and births, which again are traumatic in their own right, after going through postpartum anxiety and depression, I am reinforced in my decision because 24-year-old Laura would not have made it through. If I lived in Texas or a multitude of southern states, I would have been forced to carry a child, and I can assure you I would not be standing here to tell you my story. My beautiful children, who are right over there, would not be here. They are the family I was allowed to plan because New Yorkers have a choice. My wish is for people to understand that the potential, the possibility for a cluster of cells at 6 weeks is not more important than the very alive human vessel that is carrying them. We need to value, support, and have compassion for the lives that are here right now. Childbearing people deserve and need the very basic human right of deciding what to put their body and mind through. New Yorkers are so lucky, but our access to affordable abortion services are always under attack. The battle for funding constantly raging. So we are here today, all of us, to stand with people across the country who don't have the protections we do, who don't have access to family planning and to vital abortion services, who are unable to have a choice for their bodies, for themselves, and for their autonomy. Every childbearing person should have the power that New Yorkers do. We stand with Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, Oklahoma, Ohio, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Louisiana, Kentucky, Missouri, Arkansas. I can keep going, but we will stand and we will fight and we will protect you. Thank you.
Writer, artist, and activist. She is here today representing Indivisible Ulster. Give it up! Give it up!
So, we all know that our vote is our voice, right? Yeah. Indivisible is all about our voice is our voice. We use our voice by being here today. And we use our voice by contacting our elected officials a lot. We tell them what we want them to do. And we tell them that we like what they're doing when we do. I called Congressman Delgado, who we're going to hear from, twice this week. Once to ask that he support something that I care about, and once to thank him for being a co-sponsor of abortion justice legislation. So, let's all use our voices. And by the way, the other side seems to think that money is speech. So, let's use our voices that way too. Donate dollars if you got them. Call your elected officials early and often, because you know the other side is. And remember, our voice is our voice.
I come to the microphone at this moment with a message from Mitch McConnell. Yeah, Mitch McConnell told me to tell the crowd to shut up! Shut it up! They say shut up, we say rise up. They say shut up, we say rise up. They say shut up, we say rise up. Okay, the front and this side got the bump good. The rest of y'all gotta bring it in. They say shut up, we say rise up. They say shut up, we say rise up. They say shut up, we say rise up. Shut up, rise up. Shut it up, rise up. Shut up, rise up. Shut it up, rise up. Shut up, rise up. You got to get good. Bunch of back talking troublemakers. We're bringing up to the stage right now Marissa McClinton, candidate for Ulster County Legislature.
So good afternoon, Ulster County. That's what I'm talking about. Now, Mr. Steve over here is the perfect MC for Ulster County, but I got one for you. So when I say abortion is, you say health care. So abortion is? Health care. Abortion is? Health care. And abortion is what? Health care. See, y'all see? Steve, they got it. So, abortion rights is justice. Abortion rights and justice is a you, me, and we effort. It's a public concern as well as a private right to have safe and targeted health care services. Am I right? Yes. Interactive, I like y'all. Abortion isn't something to be politicized or platformed. Not something to be shuffled around or mishandled. Not something to be taken lightly or taken lightly. It's a difficult conversation that needs to be had with our aunts, our sisters, our neighbors, our besties, our yoga partners, and our friends, our husbands, our boyfriends, our cousins, our uncles. It's something that needs to be talked about with everybody. Am I right? Yes. The entire point of abortion justice is giving humans the right to access, the right to ability, and the right overall to make their own decisions concerning their lives, their households, and their bodies, correct? Yes. Their own decisions. Everyone say their own decisions. Their own decisions. Our own decisions. Our own decisions. Just like you want the right to make the decision on where you want to live, we all of us, every human here, every human in New York, every human in America has the right to make the informed decision about their lives, their health, and their overall existence. Am I right? Yes. Simply put, abortion is health care, right? Yes. The abortion clinics and the abortions that they perform is considered health care. The clinics themselves are considered health care facilities. They offer testing, counseling, and procedure. They provide a free service to the communities that have otherwise been pushed aside by the very people promised to uphold them, correct? Yeah. When I was a homeless young woman, mid-20s, I was subject to every sexual assault and rape problem there is on the streets of Dutchess and Ulster County. I was out there by myself, sleeping in my car, sleeping on benches, walking the streets. Not to toot my own horn, but I think I'm cute. But that's not the problem. The problem is there are people out there who don't believe in boundaries. So because of that, I had Planned Parenthood to help me keep myself safe. They gave me free health care. They gave me free birth control. They gave me checkups when I had nothing at all. So for that, thank you, healthcare. Thank you, Joy. For that, thank you, Planned Parenthood, for keeping me, a homeless young woman, safe when I couldn't even protect myself. I want you to understand that it was because of Planned Parenthood that I'm here to stand for rights of our bodies and all across America, not just New York. This is all of our issue, and this is all of our protection. So because of Planned Parenthood, I'm able to stand here right now and say, listen, hands off our bodies. surgery in the same class as an amputee getting a new leg. These are medical procedures. So to put your hand on one medical procedure while protecting others doesn't seem consistent. Doesn't seem right. Right? Right. For the counter-protesters, for the ones that are against this movement, being pro-life and being pro-birth are two separate things. If lawmakers want to make abortion illegal, then we must demand to know what they plan to do with the lives of the babies being born. We want to know, if you're going to make abortion illegal, what are you going to do about us that exist here? Have a plan. Don't just bitch about what we're doing. Have a plan. That's the whole point. Correct? Yeah. Amen. We aren't here to argue which sign of existence equals life. We're here to demand that abortion justice, reproductive health access, personal health care options remain the focal point of the idea of liberty and justice for all. Now, you all clap when Pat Ryan said that, so when I'm saying it's important to maintain liberty and justice for all, I want to hear everybody pay attention in class. We are here to reiterate that no human can decide what is best for another human when it comes to the personal health and well-being, and certainly will no outdated law barker stand on American soil and try to determine which rape victim, which incest victim, which molested minor, which sexual assault victim, which sexual abuse victim, or which elder abuse victim is worthy enough to receive the medical infant interventions that Planned Parenthood provides. It's about our mental well-being. It's about our emotional health. It's about our bodies, but also about just how we exist on this planet. Right? This movement is not just hands off our bodies, but hands off our mental health, hands off our emotional well-being, hands off our physical safety, hands off our rights to make our own informed decisions without the opinions and objectives of those that do not live with the consequences. When you take abortion away, you take away our right to choose. You've made abortion more of a crime than rape, incest, sex trafficking, molestation, and child marriage combined. Did you know that as of July 2021, only 6 states have banned underage marriage? Only 6! New Jersey, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, Rhode Island, and just this year, New York. Just this year, New York. I'm 38 years old, and you're telling me that if I didn't win the birth lottery, I could have been married off at 11 years old? It's a damn shame. Only 6 as of today. And sometimes minors cannot legally divorce their spouses or predators. Most domestic violence shelters in the United States do not accept minors. So your 11-year-old that was kidnapped and sex trafficked, let's be real. The 11-year-olds and the 10-year-olds being married off, they have no right to object. They're victims. And now Texas is saying that they can't make a choice of their own bodies. So their youth was taken, their bodies were taken, their lives were taken. So why is it such an argument about abortion rights? Why is it such an argument about reproductive rights when you have children out there at the subject of adults? And now us adults are at the subject of some people that just don't get it. Right? Right. And I'm closing. So you see, the discussion on abortion access and reproductive health is not just summed up in one little slogan. It's an attitude change. It's a perspective change. It's a moral change. It's a heart change. It's an understanding change. It's a difficult conversation at the dinner table change. We have to stand up and do something different. And this time it means standing up to our oppressors. And those are the ones trying to police our bodies, police our spirits, and police our souls. For all the victims, we are standing here with you. For all those going through it right now, we are here with you. And even for us here in Kingston and for me, we are here with you. So thank you very much. And remember, abortion is what? Healthcare! Abortion is what? Healthcare!
Liberty and justice for who?
All!
Liberty and justice for who?
All!
Liberty and justice for who?
All!
We're bringing up a believer in that right now. Antonio Delgado, U.S. United States Congressman from New York State. You know her. Put your hands together. Make some noise.
Let's take it off. afternoon. First, let me just say, it is good to see you in the flesh, in person. You've been tracking what's been going on the last few weeks in Washington a lot. And sometimes it can feel very dysfunctional, but nothing inspires me more. Nothing gets me going more. Nothing makes me more excited about the work. Oh, okay. I'm aware, but thank you. About the work that we are all here to do at every level of government, whether inside and outside of government. And that's the work of democracy. That's the work of love. That's the work of togetherness. That's the work of making sure we stand with each other when we are faced with the inevitable pushback that we are experiencing right now. I'm here for a lot of reasons, but obviously the biggest one right now is protecting a woman's right to choose. Reproductive rights. The issue is on its own, as a standalone issue, critical. Just separate and apart from every other issue. On its own, 1 out of 4 women have had an abortion. 1 out of 4. It affects a lot of people's lives, and not just the women. The men too. The men too. Every single individual has a responsibility to care deeply about this singular issue. But I also want to say, it's deeper, actually, than this singular issue. I don't think it's a coincidence that as we are seeing the potential rollback of Roe v. Wade, there's on a parallel track, attempted rollbacks of voting rights. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. They're part of the same plan. It's called rolling back the clock. You see, there was a time where there was a pecking order in society in America, a time where there was a hierarchy in society that we are still working through to this day, but we are trying to meet that moment. And we have for generations been pushing against that static order. Pushing against how you look or the gender you are dictates your status on hierarchy or who you love. This is where we are. And the fact that we are now in a position where we have made so much progress and we are seeing the demographics in our country change and multiply and commingle in ways that are unprecedented, it just means that we're growing, that we're evolving, that we're seeing more and more of the humanity in each other. And people are struggling in ways to wrap their minds around that. And then there are dark forces out there, very dark forces out there, who make it their business to target our guiding lights, our guiding principles, the things that have allowed us over decades to work through the struggle, to work through the pain, to walk hand in hand, to march together for a more just and more equitable society. This is where we are right now. So I'm not here just because, although it's plenty enough, we need to keep bans off our bodies. Absolutely. But we need to free the hands of time and not let those of us out there in our society who want to hold us back, pull us back, rework all the games, operate from a place of fear rather than hope and love. That is the fight that we are on. And I know a lot of you are looking around right now, looking at what's going on in Washington, across the country, and it might want to make you pull your hair out, right? It might make you feel a lot of pain and anger, even hostility to your fellow Americans, right? Been through a lot. COVID-19, we got people out there, over 700,000 lives lost. We got questions about vaccines. It's tough. People are on edge. And it tests you. It's testing us. And I tell you this, and I'm gonna wrap it up, but I wanna leave you with this. There's two ways that you can look at this. Okay, there's two ways that all of us here can process this. I know what side you're on because you're here, so let me just say, I know what side you're on, but I want to give you a little bit of love to take with you, a little bit of potion for the motion, okay? You can wake up and you can say, my goodness, what is going on? Roe v. Wade? Really? Decades of law? Really? We gotta pass more Voting Rights Act legislation? Really? This is gonna matter like it's never mattered before. So dig deep. Dig very deep and know that with love, there is no bottom. There is no bottom.
I approve from twice. Coming up to the microphone right now is no stranger, March Gallagher, Ulster County Controller. Give it up!
I want to thank Hudson Valley Strong. You look strong today. Thank you, Indivisible, Stephen, Elizabeth, the crew for putting this together. I want to tell you my reproductive justice story. It's a boring story because I'm a white, cisgendered, middle-class woman in a progressive state, and from the time I was a teenager until just before COVID, I went right down the street to Planned Parenthood whenever I needed them. Give it up for Planned Parenthood and do make a donation! But starting in college and straight through this pandemic, I have worked on behalf of friends and loved ones needing this fundamental health care service, abortion. In college, I had a friend who was raped and became pregnant at 18. It took me 18 phone calls to find abortion services for her here in Troy, New York. And recently, somebody close to me learned their pregnancy was not viable. They needed abortion health care. Abortion is health care. Just what Marissa said, abortion is health care. Abortion justice is our demand. We're here to demand not merely the right to obtain abortion, but access to abortion health care services. Whether those services are in a clinic or at home with a medical prescription. Whether we are a cisgendered woman or a trans man with a uterus. Whether we are black, white, brown. Whether we are rural. Whether we are urban. Whether we are in a red state or a blue state, a northern state or a southern state. All Americans must have reproductive justice and abortion justice. So what do we do from here? One thing we can do is we can change our language. We have to not be afraid to demand abortion justice. Support the Women's Health Protection Act and the EACH Act, Equal Access to Abortion Coverage. Abolish the Hyde Amendment, which continues to limit access for people of color and low-income people. Did you know that 55% of reproductive age women enrolled in Medicaid live in states that withhold insurance coverage for abortion except in the most limited circumstances, and now we have some states where it's not available altogether? 51% of reproductive age people who are enrolled in Medicaid are subject to abortion coverage restrictions, and those are people of color. 51% of people struggling with these restrictions are people of color. I have always been a reproductive justice advocate. I went to the Women's March with a multi-generational entourage of my friends and family from Woodstock. But Kavanaugh's appointment to the Supreme Court made me lay in bed for 3 days and cry. I don't recommend that because it makes you sick. And Trump's election literally moved me to run for public office. Yeah. But SB 8 in Texas absolutely shook me to my core. As a self-identifying woman, I realized I will earn less money. I will receive poorer health care. I will be more likely to suffer sexual assault and violence from an intimate partner because I am a second-class citizen. That's what Texas woke me up to realize. I need to stop pussyfooting around the language of patriarchy when talking about this most fundamental right. I have been waiting for the goddamn ERA since I was 8. We need to get on with it. So let's move beyond the language of pro-choice to pro-abortion justice. Abortion is health care. I'm going to stand here and demand abortion health care. Here, Kingston, Ulster County, New York State, and across the country. Stand with me and say it. Abortion is health care. Abortion is health care. Abortion is health care. Thank you.
Justice Coney Barrett and Justice Thomas just sent me a text. They said, go home. You're back talking bunch of troublemakers? When are you people going home? Never! When are you going to stop this? Never! When are you going to stop making all this noise? Never! When are you going to put down the banner? Never! We got things to do. When are you going home? Never! We are more and you are few. Ain't nobody scared of you. We are more and you are few.
Ain't nobody scared of you.
Okay, revisit. Get them fists all a-pumping. We are more and you are few.
Ain't nobody scared of you.
We are more and you are few.
Ain't nobody scared of you.
We ain't scared of you. Coming up to the microphone right now is Isis Benitez, community healthcare promoter for Planned Parenthood Greater New York.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Isis Benitez, and I am the community health promoter for Planned Parenthood of Greater New York, based in the city of Poughkeepsie and city of Kingston. A lot of what I do is center the communities and really try to dive deep into what the issues are that we are facing. Food insecurities, lack of educational support, housing shortages, economic, health, racial, and police injustices and disparities should be a thing of the past. It is my duty to stand up for those who continuously face systemic barriers to fundamental freedoms, especially within the Black and brown communities, LGBTQ+ folks, and undocumented immigrants. And that is why we are here today. We have to stand up for the rights of the women in Texas who are unable to access essential health care, including abortions. We know this is an ongoing fight, and we won't back down. We need to stick together, support each other, and stand in solidarity to protect everyone's right to health care in our communities and across the country. Thank you.
Let's get an alarm action going. Let me see it. Here we go. We came out to make some noise. It's my body. It's my choice. We came out to make some noise.
It's my body. It's my choice.
We came out to make some noise.
It's my body. It's my choice.
We came out to make some noise.
It's my body. It's my choice.
We came out to make some noise.
It's her body. It's her choice.
Coming to the microphone right now is Kenya Gadsden, council member from the town of Fishkill.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I just want everybody here to take a moment. I just want you to take a moment, and I want you to just look around. I want you to look around. Y'all, don't get worried. They got me over here. So I want you to look around. I want you to twirl around one time. I want you to see all the people that are represented here today that are part of the same cause that you are. I also want you to take a moment and give yourselves a round of applause, because this event is nothing without you. Together, we will make a difference here. Together, we will make changes here. Together, we can do this. This is not for the weary. This is for the strong. This is for those that feel like no matter what's going on, I am going to stand. I am going to stand despite the storm that I'm experiencing. We will be in the rain. We will be in the snow. We will be in the sleet. We will be in the sunshine. But guess what? We will be together in this fight. We have come together, leaders from all around, and people who care about protecting the right to have an abortion. Your participation today is a sign that the challenge will be met with the people willing to educate and stand on the principles in which the issues control. It is an access to care when it is needed, in the time the person chooses and in the community that they trust. There is no need for us to travel far to get a service that we should receive in our very own community. It takes our voices to be heard, to allow others to see that if you stand alone, someone will come stand by you. That's what everybody here represented today should know. If you take a stand, people will stand with you. No one here will stand alone. We all represent different communities and we come from different walks of life. Let our continued fight for abortion rights have us remain. I flipped the page, I'm sorry. Steadfast and unmovable. My mother, who is no longer here, said to me that if you want to make change, you have to be steadfast. She also told me that you have to have the ability and the willingness not to move. And so I have two daughters, 25 and 27, and what I have taught them that when you have issues that you are strong about, especially issues on your abortion rights or things that pertain to your body, you will stand in the thick of it, regardless of who is standing with you. There will be people who will stand for your rights because they know that they are your rights, and there will be people who are standing against you. You will weather the storm. So I challenge everybody represented here today to weather the storm. Can you say that with me? Weather the storm! Okay? And so the journey has only begun, and the fight for abortion justice will continue. Together we can stand, together we can advocate, together we can share, and together we will win the fight on our rights to have an abortion. Thank you.
Okay, we're about to close out the rally part of the protest and begin the march. Before we do a public service announcement, next Friday at 5:30 at the Kingston Library, the O Positive group wants to know they're having a rally for against gentrification. If you're interested, like I said, 5:30 at the Kingston Library next Friday. Yep. I'm allowed to ask questions. I got questions. Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what America looks like.
This is what America looks like.
Tell me what America looks like.
This is what America looks like.
Tell me what resistance looks like.
This is what resistance looks like.
Tell me what resistance looks like.
This is what resistance looks like.
Okay, you bunch of back-talking troublemakers. We've come too far to turn back now. We've come too far to turn back now. Your oppression is old, you see. None of this applies to me. Your oppression is old, you see. Your oppression is old, you see. None of this applies to me. pretty shoddy. Your arguments are pretty shoddy.
Get your aggression off of me!
Control me, forget that. We ain't never turning back. Control me, forget that.
We ain't never turning back!
Control me, forget that.
We ain't never turning back!
Control me, forget that.
We ain't never going